All right. Well, hello, my name is Travia, and I will be facilitating our conversation today. We have two conversion facilitators with us, Magda and Roni. Thank you both for joining today. I want to start off by learning more about each of you. Tell me, how did you get into conversion facilitation?
Magda, would you like to get us started?
I can get us started. Um, I learned the convergent facilitation from Mickey Kashtan, who created the approach. But at the same time, I have a sense I knew it way before. And I was using some of the principles, not, of course, not all of them, some of them years ago before I learned the process. So it was an intuitive in what I was doing intuitively, and seeing it presented as a whole process helped me to understand a lot what I was doing and learn more. So it was super obvious I want to apply it. Roni?
Yeah, I have a similar piece, and Mickey has actually said this to me a couple times that I was doing it before I even knew it was a thing. So my history, I have a lot of background of doing consulting in a corporate environment, and there's a lot of collaborative decision making that takes place, and it's often done in somewhat not collaborative ways. So there's a lot of subtle uses of power, and not everybody's needs are considered. And those were things that were bothering me over time, and I was really looking for um, more of these deeper principles of how can I engage with these things when they happen. And when I discovered convergent facilitation and Mickey's teachings, it was really a just a sense of like, look at this, like exactly what I've been looking for. And I was thinking, it's one of the things Magda and I teach is don't just toss out the wisdom that you already have. This is really about how to take what you already know and refine it and think of it a little differently so you can make more conscious choices about how do we bring everybody together across differences to find common ground.
I love that. And tell me more about what exactly do you do as a conversion facilitator?
Hmm. Yeah. So I think a lot of it is about things that we do every day. So once you get these ideas and principles into your body, you're living it. And even if there's an argument or a conflict in your family, or you have a group of friends who can't make a decision about what are we all going to do together that everybody's going to feel good about, you're listening for what is important for people and reflecting it in a way that helps everybody understand what matters to each other. And then it from that place comes creativity to find solutions that are going to work for everyone in a group. So that's the everyday piece. And then we have the things that are more in the work area. So if you're in a company or an organization or a community, and these days we seem to have a lot of conflict and a lot of polarization of perspectives. And this is an opportunity to, as a conversion facilitator, I can come in and support your group in really identifying the needs or the considerations or what we call criteria for what's important to everyone in the group, and then guide everyone towards making a decision that is still going to include everyone.
Thank you. I'd love to know what makes convergent facilitation unique and different compared to other methods out there.
I would say each person who knows convergent facilitation would say something different. I can say what is unique for me because I don't know all the approaches to make decisions. I know many, but not all. So one piece that is unique for me is focusing, especially in the first stage of the decision-making process, on what's important to people. In other words, what they have in common, what they are longing for as a group, and we call it non-controversial essence. And the other piece that I find unique is when we ask about disagreement, dissent, concerns, we can ask, we can invite it more or less. And it's a conscious choice what we do about it. We can ask, oh, please tell me who would feel a little bit uneasy when we make such a decision, or from the other end, who would leave the organization if we make such a decision. So you see the difference. And I really like it that we can consciously choose it, how much concern, disagreement we invite to hear and to integrate in a decision. Roni, would you like to add?
Yeah, I really like this piece, and I would add that another thing that's unique is that we're asking for that disagreement or dissent. In other decision-making processes, you're often checking for agreements, and I think also in everyday life, people are more used to asking like, "Who's in favor of this?" Or "Who agrees with this?" or "Who feels good about this?" And we're asking for who is not okay with it, because we want to engage in the places where we don't have togetherness and common ground. So I think that really shifts the feeling of the space. And we also don't vote. That's another thing that's very common for other decision-making approaches. There's no voting in conversion facilitation.
Thank you both for sharing that. That is extremely powerful. And it sounds so relevant to what's going on right now in our country. And all around the world, not just one country, but all countries, right? I'd love to know from you, how do you feel it matters now based on what's going on? Why does convergent facilitation matter, and why are these skills so important for people to learn?
Yeah, I think I want to connect it to this piece I was just sharing about voting. So voting is pretty common in our culture right now, and one of the challenges with voting is that there's always winners and losers. So everybody who voted in favor, if that's the decision we make, wins, and everyone else loses, and it creates this separation or this sense of competition in the space. And this shift to thinking about it as we're all in this together, trying to find a solution that works for everyone, brings people together. And especially these days with social media and the general tendency to be very critical and judgmental of people with different perspectives, I think this is desperately needed. Given what's happening in the world and things like climate crisis and general struggles with the future of humanity, we really need these skills that help us come together to solve practical problems, including perspectives that are very different from ours that we may very deeply disagree with. I'm curious, Magda, if you have some thoughts on this.
I do have. When I was thinking about this piece, I connected with what you shared, and at the same time with the sensation that we as like humanity as a whole is hungry for making collaborative decisions for centuries, if not thousands of years. Because like, of course, now very difficult things happen, but very difficult things happened also in the past. So I feel this hunger that is not fulfilled. And the other piece that came to me is that some of the conflicts could be resolved by working out a solution that everyone would support. So this would help nowadays.
Thank you both for sharing. I would love to know, you both teach a workshop. Tell us about that workshop and who it's for.
So
go ahead, Magda.
The way I'm holding it is that it's for everyone who wants to learn more about collaborative decision, meaning decision that everyone supports, so that there is energy in the group to implement the decision. And as Roni mentioned earlier, we want to build on the wisdom participants bring in, because everyone makes a lot of decisions in their life, including group decisions, small or big group decisions. So we want to build on this wisdom. And we also offer practice activities at, I think, almost of our 6 sessions, so that each person can learn a piece of convergent facilitation and instantly apply. Maybe not the whole process, of course, because it's quite complex and we need to get some experience, but some aspects of convergent facilitation participants could apply almost instantly after. And of course, they can discover how much they already know about it because they do it like we did it intuitively. Yeah, Roni?
I think that covers it. My very short answer of who is it for is everyone, because I don't know of any humans who are not trying to make decisions with other humans in their lives.
Well, what would you say are the top takeaways that people can expect to walk away knowing? What would be the top shifts for people?
I think one of them is the way in which we think about decisions. So aiming for something that works for everyone instead of aiming for like the best decision or the the decision that we can make people accept. So I think it shifts the orientation to what are we trying to accomplish when we're making a decision. Magda, would you like to share one?
Yes, and it's a repetition from what I said previously. It's just, for me, the biggest takeaway could be the opportunity to practice and implement things you practice at the intensive in your daily life. To see the change, because the change happens step by step, and it could be very encouraging to see it.
Yeah, I think another one for me is in listening. A lot of what we do is listen differently. So especially for people, convergent facilitation draws a lot from the principles of nonviolent communication by Marshall Rosenberg. So if people who are not familiar with NVC before they arrive, I think also a really big takeaway is learning to listen to what matters to people underneath what they're saying, because we're often expressing ourselves in terms of judgments or what's not working for us, and underneath that are the things that we want and that are important to us and we value. So learning to listen to that and using that as an opening to find common ground.
I have one more, which is we learn also how to change the context of framing in which we gather. One example is how we ask a question about what is the decision we want to make. If we ask, do we want to go to the cinema or or for a walk in the forest? We have either or energy in the room, and there is a easy move towards fight or a discussion. And when we ask, what do we want to do together today in the afternoon? Then we focus on resolving together a dilemma. And this was only one example of how we can shift consciously the context we gather, and this way change the energy of a group.
Thank you both for sharing, and I'm sure there are so many more. Thank you for sharing that with us today. Let's talk about how much time will the workshop take? How long is it?
Yeah, so this particular workshop that is upcoming right now is a full weekend intensive. We do offer other workshops that are shorter for people who that time setup may not work as well for. The reason we really like offering it as a weekend intensive is because there's something about immersing yourself in this way of thinking and being and relating that is really powerful. And we find that gives people the space to really sit with the experience and take the time for the practice activities and ask the questions that come up and deeply take in the principles. So the way it's set up is we do 3 sessions each day, and then we have a Q&A session at the end, and it pretty much takes up most of the day for 2 days in a row. It's a big party.
Thank you. Yeah. And so how can people learn more? Where can people sign up if they want to take the workshop?
Yeah, all of the information is on the Convergent Facilitation website, which is convergentfacilitation.org. And we, if you're already part of the Convergent Facilitation community in any way, it goes out in our newsletter and in our coaching calls. And you're always welcome to just reach out to me or Magda if you have questions or need support. We really love connecting with people.
Thank you. And I just have one more question. Favorite story of somebody using conversion facilitation? Do you have a favorite story that comes to mind?
Favorite story of, I didn't hear the word.
Yes. Do you have a favorite story of somebody or yourself using conversion facilitation to bring a group? It could be in a workplace, it could be a family. Do you have a favorite story that comes to mind?
I have one with kids, and it's a story that repeats quite often. When young kids fight over a toy, like I do it right now automatically, but it was fun to discover. Oh, you want to play with something that is interesting to you, or you want to follow your curiosity. And it was always like, of course, yes, both parties, both kids, 3 kids, yes, okay, so let's look for it so that everyone can have a toy that supports their curiosity. This is one of my favorites.
Oh, I definitely resonate with that because I have young kids at home. So it sounds like I I need that.
Roni, your favorite?
I don't know that I have favorites. I was thinking about that. There's just so many there's so many different situations where I enjoy applying this, and sometimes I don't think about the fact that I'm doing it. So I think what I want to do is offer us diversity and talk about a corporate settings, so in a company environment. And I think one of my favorite moments is when people discover, so people are so used to arguing with each other. And I love this moment when we come together with a list that has things that everybody agrees with, even though they came from different people in the group. And sometimes people are really surprised by this and like, but there's nothing here to disagree with. But I don't have anyone to argue with. And they seem almost like disappointed that, like, well, if we're not arguing, how are we going to find a solution? So I really love this moment when people realize that, hey, if we don't have anything to disagree with, that means we found a solution that works for everyone, and no one needs to leave here feeling disappointed or like they gave up on something that's really important to them.
Oh, that was great. Thank you so much for your time today. We talked about conversion facilitation, a little bit about your background, and how people can learn more. Thank you again, and I look forward to taking the workshop.
Thank you, Travia. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your questions, Travis.
You're welcome.